Okay, welcome back to Getting Sober ... Again, my name is Jay, and today we're going to talk about it's a question, and the question is, can I still feel sad after getting sober? And I think that a lot of us, we suffer from depression while we're drinking, and a lot of the anxiety and the depression, right? It's kind of like just a revolving door of feelings that we don't want to deal with. We start feeling anxiety over what we need to do, and you know, how big the task is ahead of us. Like if it's just getting sober, we start looking at the past and we think like, oh man, I've been drinking for a decade or 2 decades or whatever it is for you, 3 years, 3 months, I don't know. And then you look at the past and you get depressed. And then you look to the future and you get anxiety. You look to the past and you get depressed, and you know, it just starts all over again, and it keeps you drinking because you're like, oh, I feel too much anxiety. I need a drink, right? That's what we say, right? And we're like, I just need a drink right now. And because that's our go-to weapon. That was our go-to crutch of choice that'll make us feel better. And so, you know, what was happening? What was happening all those times that we had that first drink of the day? We had a flood of dopamine. And that's what happened. We had a dopamine release in our brain, in our reward center of our brain, and it was telling us, everything's awesome, we feel awesome, this is great, let's have some more of this. And you are then just a slave to that first feeling. If you can remember the first time that you got drunk, unless you got like so annihilated that you said to yourself, oh man, I'm never gonna do that ever again. I remember the first time I got drunk, I think I was underage. I was slightly underage, and a couple years underage. I think I was 19. And I went to a house party and I drank. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't read a book. There were no memes back then. And I drank, you know, it was just whatever a bunch of kids could get their hands on. So it was like Mike's Hard Lemonade, stuff like that, like Miller Lights and whatever, and grocery store Southern Comfort. So it wasn't even like 80 proof or whatever. It wasn't like 40% alcohol. It was like the grocery store stuff, which was like 40 proof and like 20% alcohol. And I remember drinking the SoCo, the Southern Comfort, straight out of the bottle. And I remember saying to somebody, oh yeah, look how much I could drink. Look, I could drink this whole bottle. Because I didn't know that this much alcohol an hour from now, within an hour, was gonna, you know, make me feel pretty buzzed. So multiply that by 10, within an hour or two, I was gonna be violently vomiting, which is what I did. But if, you know, after that, you know, after we get accustomed to, we get past the learning curve of whatever the drug is, whether it be alcohol or, you know, weed or whatever, if you're into psychedelics or cocaine or whatever, you figure out a, you know, healthier balance. And like when you go to the doctor too, they're not like, okay, well, here's a bottle of oxycodone or here's a bottle of Oxycontin. Just take it at your discretion, whatever feels good. They don't tell you that. They're like, listen, you are only allowed to take this much. We will print it on the bottle 1 time a day as needed, right? You know, they give you the instructions, which that'll be a whole nother topic about like drug legalization and, you know, whether or not it should be legal in the first place. But so what ends up happening with us when we drink? We get the dopamine flood, the release, right? So here's a little pop quiz. What other drugs or chemicals do we take that also releases dopamine? I'll give you 5 seconds to come up with your list in your head. What is it? What other things cause a flood of dopamine? All right, time's up. So besides alcohol, you also have nicotine, and you have cocaine and amphetamines and opiates. And I'm not sure what the entire list is, but that's just what I remember. And so those are the things that they cause pleasure in that reward center in our brains. And that's where addiction happens, that's why addiction happens easiest, because when all around us is shitty, and even when all around us is great, you know, alcoholism affects, true or false, alcoholism affects poor people and rich people. True. It doesn't matter what your status is, what your class is, if you were born into money, or if you earn money over time, or if you have no money, if you're homeless, if you're out past your last dollar. Alcoholism affects everybody, all right? So when we're not satisfied with our environment, with our job, with our spouse, with maybe a lot of people are gonna say like, I'm unsatisfied with my family life, with my kids. Oh, they hate me, I hate my job, I hate myself, you know? And one thing that you know that's gonna give you a pick-me-up, it's almost guaranteed, but diminishes over time, is alcohol. Amongst, you know, with other things I talked about, the nicotine, cocaine, amphetamines, and opiates, right? But that releases a flood of dopamine in our brains, and it makes us want more what? Alcohol. And man, I really gotta remember to turn my phone off when I'm making these videos. All right, sorry about that. But we get the flood of dopamine in our brain. And I would always tell people, like, I worked in the service industry for like 10 years. And we were all basically alcoholics. We worked at a place that served legal drugs, right? But I would always try to tell like younger people. I would always like that I would work with. I'm like, I wouldn't do it with customers, but I would do it with people I work with. I'd be like, listen, nothing is ever gonna be better than that first buzz. After that, you are wasting your money and you are chasing that dragon. You are trying to get back to that first buzz. You're trying to get back to that first high, that first line of cocaine. There will never be a high as good as that first line of cocaine or that first hit of crack. I'm guessing. I've not done that. Or opiates either. Fortunately, I have like a bad reaction. I think I got like, I don't think codeine, I don't know if codeine counts. I know that like morphine, codeine, and whatever, that all comes from poppies. But I remember I got my wisdom teeth out, and that was like 20 years ago. And I decided then and there, like even getting my appendix out, every time I've been prescribed any kind of painkiller, I just say, nope. But anything that stimulates me is a completely different story. And then, but so like with alcohol though, like I'd always tell people like, hey, listen, I know it feels great. That first buzz, like nothing's better than that first buzz. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not trying to sell it, and I really hope I'm not triggering you or causing cravings. You know, let's do one of these real quick. Please no cravings for my audience. God, amen. And, but like we know that's a fact. That's why you could do it every day. That's why we would also, we'd have these different rules in our heads. Like, okay, if I get day drunk, I can't get drunk, or it's almost impossible to get drunk if I go out later. I mean, I don't know how it affected you, but that's what happened for me. So like if you went tailgating or something during the day and then you were gonna go out later, it was like, well, it was gonna be kind of impossible. You wouldn't get that first satisfying buzz. You wouldn't get it. And then over time, that buzz gets lower and lower, and it just starts to diminish. The receptors start to diminish. They start to not work and fire and receive and send as well as they used to. So going back to the original question, can you be sad? Can you still suffer from depression? Can you be depressed after quitting alcohol? Yeah, especially right afterwards, because like we've done so much damage to our brain and those receptors that it has to take time to heal. Just like anything else. Like just because, you know, like if you all of a sudden, if you ate like shit for your whole life, let's say that was the problem. No, it wasn't alcohol. And you were 150 pounds overweight. If you dieted for a week and you were 150 pounds overweight, you would probably be at the end of that week 148 pounds overweight. It's just gonna take time. It's gonna take time to heal your kidneys and your liver and your skin. You're probably suffering from different, you know, eczema or whatever, other different conditions throughout, topically and internally within your body. So with your dopamine, it's not gonna be any different. You're definitely going to need time. You're going to have to be patient for things to start to return, for normal joy and happiness to return. I was, over the past couple of days, as I'm approaching my my 3 months of sobriety, I'll catch myself every now and then catching a little wave of happiness, and then I think to myself like, ooh, because like that would never, you know, it's been so long since I would like naturally get happy about something, you know, other than like an Amazon package. Like, where's my, like, where is it? Where is it? Today's it coming? And you're watching the tracking information. You're like, oh, stimulation, right? Or like winning a game or something like that. But it's like, you know, I got to the point, I started to recognize the patterns with my alcohol use that it was like, I don't really enjoy anything anymore. And I hate to say that, but like, I'm just being honest. And like, I know that you felt that same way too, because you're a human being, I'm a human being, DNA, alcohol. It's the same stuff. Like, sure, there are variables, right? But regardless, if you drink X amount of alcohol over X amount of time, it's gonna have similar effects. And just like regular life just wasn't happy. Like, it wasn't happy for me anymore. Like, I wasn't miserable, but I was like, well, all right, I'll go do that, but I'm gonna need to get a buzz. Like, I'm gonna need to drink. I'm gonna need to have a drink. I'm gonna have to bring something with me. I'm gonna bring a flask, or I'm gonna bring whatever. You know, I'm gonna something to put a pep in my step. I don't want to be around all those people. I don't want to go to that event. I don't want to be like, all right, well, I mean, if I have to be there, like, I'm gonna drink. You know, and then so you know, after you know, this time of being sober, I'm like, I still get tired. Like, I was the most tired the first month, and I talked about that in a previous episode. After a month of sobriety, I noticed in month 2 it started to level out. I started to get more energy. But in the first month, I was taking a lot of naps. Like during like the afternoon, I would just crash. But also too, that could have been part of my diet. I recently switched over to a keto or keto type of diet. I just basically eliminated. Let's just say all I did was eliminate carbohydrates. Or like an unequal amount of carbohydrates. If you have any questions about anything I'm talking about, just comment below. I know sometimes I'll intend to finish a thought and then I don't, and I start talking about something else, like, I'm sorry. But like you can comment below, and then while I'm sitting, I can, you know, go back and give you a more detailed description. So like now, see, I've already forgot what I'm talking about. Carbohydrates. I cut out carbohydrates and sugar out of my diet. That's basically all I did. So I'm not doing any wheats, pastas, no breads, no breading on anything, no sugar. No added sugars. I'm not doing fruit either. Like I'm not trying to get any sucrose, fructose, glucose, any of that stuff, but that's a whole different thing. But my point was, like, I was more tired, and I thought I was eating healthy during that first month. And I usually eat healthy. Even when I was like binge drinking, I would always eat healthy, like whole foods, kale, you name it, potatoes, roasted veggies. I always ate well, but like I made a little change to my diet. Now I have more flat lines energy throughout the day. That sounds bad. More like level energies instead of like spikes and crashes. It's more just like level and consistent throughout the day. But you know, so with the depression though, I talked about it again in a previous episode. I'm gonna stop saying that eventually. I talk about stuff. Some of these videos are like 20 minutes long. But I have felt depressed since quitting alcohol. But also too, it's like, whether or not you've taken therapy, a therapist would say, you know, like, well, where is the evidence that what you are feeling depressed about is true, right? So I was talking to a good friend of mine last night, and she was saying that, you know, she's really depressed about like where she lives, you know, not wanting to be here where we are. Like, I also don't want to be here. Like, I'm very, very grateful for my house, my home, and everything that I have. I just want to be somewhere else. I want to be somewhere warm. So if you have some property you want to sell me, I'm looking for a nice warehouse that I could be an artist in a warmer climate. So anything in Florida or Texas or Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, comment below. But I was talking to her about, you know, just kind of not wanting to be here and kind of like being depressed. And I've been a little bit depressed, but I look at where is the evidence, and I told her, like, what is factual right now, like what's happening. And during the recording of this video, all of us are suffering with the consequences of like worldwide pandemic, you know. So a lot of things that we used to do are closed. Places that we wanted to go to are closed. Like, just like a lot of stuff is just closed. Like a lot of just like normal isn't free or available to us anymore. So that also may be a whole nother topic, but I mean, that's something to take into consideration. Like, and that's natural. That will naturally cause a depression. You know, depression is like sadness is a feeling. You're allowed to feel sad. You're allowed to experience sadness. You're allowed to look at, you know, maybe where your life is and say like, oh man, I do wish things were better. But an unhealthy pattern would be to just say, like, well, I just wish that things aren't better. I wish that things are better, and they're not. So I'm just gonna be sad about it. But you should be doing something about it. You know, even if it's just like, well, I'd like to have a better career. Well, what are we gonna do about it? You're not gonna get that degree overnight, but you can start making some progress towards it. You can start scheduling in more things that you wanna do in your schedule that'll get you closer to what your goals are, right? And just as you continue to get one day further away from drinking alcohol, you continue to get one day closer to a new goal and something new that will make you feel accomplished. I guarantee you, anytime that you can feel accomplished over anything, it's gonna release dopamine. And I've gone through a lot of artificial and unnecessary dopamine release in lieu of accomplishments. It's not to say that I'm not an accomplished person, but I was definitely just time traveling through the day to get to the end of the day, and I was using alcohol just to get me to the end of the day, because alcohol, after the first initial buzz, after certain amounts of alcohol, I would then develop the mindset of, fuck it. And I'm sure you've dealt with that too. So once we get sober, is it gonna be the cure-all for everything? No, but it's gonna help you get closer to naturally feeling better so that you can accomplish more of your tasks, more of your goals, and do what's gonna make you actually feel happy for very real and valid reasons. You will have all of the emotions, and it is okay to feel all of the emotions. If you are feeling sad, lay down, chill out, sit down, hang out, have a good meal, watch something funny, be kind to yourself. If it's really that bad, take a nap, lay down. If it's the end of the night and you're just like, oh, I don't know, I should feel like, I don't know, a couple more hours of getting some work done. You're really just not feeling it, go to bed early. Wake up in the morning and get some work done. I mean, just like, you gotta listen to your body. You know, if you need rest, get some rest. If you're not feeling happy, it's okay. Like, but it doesn't mean turn to alcohol. Like, well, like, I could just get that quick buzz and then I'll feel better. Like, yeah, you'll feel better for a little, like what? You tell what, 45 minutes? How long does that buzz actually last? And you can maybe kick it into dangerous territory with another set of drinks afterwards, and then it's all downhill from there. You know it's all downhill. Then it's emergency food time. It's, I need a cigarette, I need cigarettes, now I'm feeling a little too depressed, now I need something to pick me up. And then you're reaching out for something else, or maybe somebody else offering something else, because they've also made poor decisions, and they're remedying their poor decision with another poor decision, and they're offering you those poor decisions, and then you're just back in the cycle again. So stay strong. Know that you're gonna go through through a gamut of dopamine rebuilding. You will feel sad at times. You will feel tired at times. You will feel depressed at times, but it will pass. Cravings pass. Shitty times pass. Wonderful times pass. And so life goes on. Anything that you need, comment below. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking this video if you have. And if you haven't, please like it. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. And good luck on your journey. I will see you in the next video.